What is up, my YouTube friends? Welcome back to my channel. It's Bells. If you are new here, hello. I am so excited for today. I created my own TBR game. I bought this new set of tarot cards called Tarot of the Divine by Yoshi Yoshitani. All of the cards are inspired by deities, folklore, and fairy tales. So every card has a story that's attributed to it, which I thought was just perfect for a TBR game for books. I'll go over the rules really quickly, but if you're interested in playing this game for yourself or just seeing what prompts I gave to all of the cards, I'm also gonna link a Google Doc down below that you can go and check out just for funsies. I am so excited with the books that my cards picked for me this month. Oh my gosh, it's just amazing. So without further ado, let's bring on the books. The rules are pretty simple. You can pull as many cards as you want for as many books. Each card is equal to one book, so I picked 5 cards. But you pull an extra card if you pull the Tower. If you pull a duplicate number in the minor arcana, so if you pull, say, a 2 of Wands and a 2 of Cups, then you pull an extra card. And if the card is reversed, you pull an extra card. So there's a possibility of having quite a few books on the TBR lists. Every major arcana card has a very specific prompt, and then all of the minor arcana numbers and court cards have like a general prompt. The challenge for me is to then find a book in my TBR that kind of matches the story on the card. Pretty simple, very fun. So without further ado, the first card I pulled was the Wheel of Fortune, which is a major arcana card, and the deity that is representing the Wheel of Fortune is Anansi, who is a trickster spider god. He's often considered to be a god of all knowledge of stories and is known for outsmarting more powerful opponents. The Wheel of Fortune is essentially talking about how all of these events that happen in our lives seem random but are actually interconnected by fate. So the Wheel of Fortune upright is, fortune, an unexpected windfall, karma, destiny. So you're assuming that you're going to get something good out of it. The prompt for this one is a random TBR pick. So I'll put up the random number generator that I used. What it settled on was When We Were Orphans by Kazuo Ishiguro. So this story is about a prominent detective in the 1930s who has never been able to solve the mysterious disappearance of his parents when he was a boy in Shanghai. I think this sounds really interesting. I know this has been on my TBR list for a long time. I've definitely been working on trying to expand my reading from Western literature into other places. Having a story set in Shanghai and written by a non-white person is going to be very nice. That was my first cards pick. The next pick we had was a reversed 3 of Wands, which of course means we're gonna pick up another card, but this story is The Enchanted Pig, which is a Romanian fairy tale. The really, really short version of this story is a princess marries a pig to save her city, and he becomes a man every night and eventually wins her heart. She breaks the spell of him turning into a pig too early by accident and has to go on a quest to save him. So the Three of Wands, when it's upright, is about self-motivation and freedom. This girl goes on a quest, and as long as she stays motivated, she winds up receiving her prince in the end as a prize. But because it was reversed, it's more about returning home or frustration, delays, personal journeys without the achievements you were hoping for, etc. For the number 3, the prompt is nonfiction, and so I wanted to pick something that related to The Enchanted Pig as a story, and so I picked Sex with Kings by Eleanor Herman. I'm so excited to read this book, guys. So this story chronicles 500 years of the history of royal mistresses, which how cool. I'm super curious to see what kind of history Eleanor Herman has for us. So I picked this for nonfiction for The Enchanted Pig because the story is about a princess who falls in love with a pig. And I would definitely argue that most kings in most regimes, probably throughout history, are pigs. I think it suited this pig. But also I was really just excited to read it, so this gave me a nice little push to do that. So that was the 3 of Wands reversed. The extra card that I picked up was next, which was the Two of Cups. This is such a beautiful card. I love this card. And the two characters here are Enkidu and Gilgamesh from the Epic of Gilgamesh, which was an ancient Mesopotamian religious text, the second oldest we've ever found in existence. And Enkidu was originally created to fight Gilgamesh, but after Gilgamesh beats him in a challenge, they wind up becoming friends, comrades, and they wind up killing the Bowl of Heaven together. Because of that, the gods kill Enkidu, and Gilgamesh is so distressed by this that he goes on a quest to find eternal life and eventually finds that that's impossible. The Two of Cups is about a happy relationship, a partnership, attraction, connection, equality, essentially what you would imagine from two friends who, I mean, we can see what the artist of these cards thought Enkidu and Gilgamesh were up to. My prompt for the number 2 is a book written in two perspectives. So I wanted to pick something with two perspectives, but also that was about friendship in some way, shape, or form. And so I picked No Heaven for Good Boys by Keisha Bush. This is about 6-year-old Ibrahima, who is sent to Dakar to join his cousin Etienne in studying the Quran. But instead of actually learning about the Quran, the boys end up begging in the streets to line their teachers' pockets. And these boys are called the Taliban. So this is based off of a real group of boys, real events that have happened. So it's from the perspectives of both boys, and then they're trying to find their way back home. I'm just really curious to see where it goes, honestly. I expect it to be pretty depressing, but I am excited to read this one. This one's also been on my list for a really long time, so this feels like a good excuse to read that as well. The next card that I pulled was The Lovers. The story on this card is The Wonderful Beauty and the Beast. We probably all know the Disney tale, but the original and very shortened, it's a very long story. The Beast was a prince who rejected an ugly and or evil fairy, depending on what account you read. And so she cursed him to be ugly as well. And then Belle has two really horrible ugly sisters, think Cinderella, and she's called Beauty because she's so beautiful, which I think is a little dramatic. Also, depending on what account you read, Belle is actually a fairy who was placed with a merchant to be hidden from the evil fairy, and so he just raised her as his own. But again, it depends on the account that you read. So Belle's father, the merchant, goes on an adventure to go and find his riches, doesn't find anything, gets lost in the woods on his way back, and finds the Beast's castle. Because he's infiltrated and or possibly stolen something from the castle, the Beast says that in exchange for his life, he must return with one of his daughters. So Belle agrees to be the one to go, and she shows up. She lives a very opulent lifestyle. She can read whatever book she wants. She gets servants and food and dresses and everything, and every night the Beast asks her to marry him. During this period of time, she winds up falling for him. After a few months, she says that she really misses her family, and he says, okay, you can go back, but just so you know, if you stay too long, I'll probably die of grief, which a little gaslighty, but it's fine. But her horrible sisters, when she shows up, keep her there in some way. And by the time that she manages to return to the castle, the Beast is dying of grief. She realizes she loves him, professes her dying love, and the curse is broken and he's alive and they stay together forever. And also, in one version of the story, the sisters wind up getting turned to stone in front of the castle so they can watch Belle be doted upon and happy for the rest of her life, which I just thought was really wild. Now, the Lover's actual card, of course, it's the Lovers, but you're thinking love or harmony or choice, a leap of faith, trust. It's about connecting with another person, trusting that other person, perhaps compromising with them. And so the prompt that I picked for this card was a romance between two unlikely people. And I've been putting off reading this for a really long time because I know I'm going to cry a lot, but I picked The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller for this one, which is the story of the Iliad from Patroclus's perspective. Very critically acclaimed. Everyone's talking about this book. I know I'm gonna love it, and I know I'm gonna cry. That's what I picked for this one, for The Lovers, because this story suggests that Patroclus and Achilles were actually partners. I believe that this story goes a little bit further into that theory. Yeah, I'm gonna be really sad, but I'm really excited to read it. I'm just gonna be sad. But that was my pick for The Lovers. The next card I picked was the Queen of Wands, and this deity is Pele, who is a Hawaiian volcano goddess, which cool. I believe this is who's portrayed in Moana, the volcano goddess in Moana. I believe that this is who that is. One version of her story is that she was born in Tahiti, but was banished for her fiery temper and for having an affair with her sister's husband. She travels to the Hawaiian Islands, but her sister follows her and attacks her, leaving her for dead. Pele manages to flee and through this process, digs some giant fire pits on the way. Eventually, when her sister finds out that she's still alive, she returns, literally rips Pele to pieces. Pele winds up ascending to become the volcano goddess. Now, the Queen of Wands as a card means independence, confidence, passion, optimism, seeing through your creative visions even in the face of adversity or challenge. For queen cards, I am just looking for a female author. In this one in particular, I was looking for something with like competing sisters and or like the search for independence. So I picked The Other Boleyn Girl by Philippa Gregory, which, if you don't know, is the story of Anne and Mary Boleyn during the Tudor era with Henry VIII. It's basically these two sisters' rivalry for the attentions of King Henry VIII that ultimately wound up changing the state of Europe forever. If you haven't seen the movie is so freaking good. It's got Scarlett Johansson, probably the best I've ever seen her acting-wise, and Natalie Portman as the two sisters, and they fucking smash it. I'm super, super excited to read this. I also discovered there's a whole series that Philippa Gregory wrote about the Tudors and Plantagenet families, and there's like 15 books. So everyone knows what I'm reading next year. I am so excited. But the book is from Mary Boleyn's perspective, who is the original sister that Henry VIII picked as his mistress. Was she the mistress first, or was Anne the mistress first? I think she was the mistress first, and then Anne convinces him to marry her. I'm pretty sure that's the story. But that is my pick for the Queen of Wands. And our last card that I wound up picking was the 10 of Cups. I love how this card looks, but I'm a sucker for mermaids. The story on this card is one of the Arabian Nights tales. It's about Julnar the Seaborn, who was a slave girl whose people were mer people, and was offered to a king, and he takes her and she refuses to speak for a very long time. And during that time, the king falls in love with her and eventually professes his love and marries her once she breaks her silence and reveals her name to him. They wind up having a son who, long story short, makes a lot of really, really, really stupid romantic decisions. Like a lot. He's turned into a lot of different animals throughout this process by fairies who are mad at him. Don't fuck with fairies. He's eventually turned into a bird and put into a cage, and Julnar shows up to transform him back into his human shape so that he can marry the woman he actually loves and not all the other women he was having dalliances with. She's cool. Julnar's freaking cool. The 10 of Cups, the card in particular, is about harmony and found family reunions. If you pull the 10 of Cups, it's like suggesting that you'll be so full of love and happiness that you have a bunch to share with all the people around you, which I thought was just so lovely. My prompt for the number 10 is a standalone book, so no series. In this one in particular, I was looking for something with like that found family trope. So I picked House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune, which again is one I've been so excited to read. Like, these cards have picked some great assortment of books for me, and I'm very happy about it. It's about a 40-year-old man who works at the department in charge of magical youth and is one day tasked to evaluate 6 magical children, and very dangerous magical children at that, and see if they'll bring about the end of the world. And it's a found family trope, very sweet and wholesome, and so I'm just so excited to read it. Those were my 6 books that my tarot cards picked for me. I don't think I could have picked a TBR better for myself, which I guess is the whole point of tarot cards, is knowing you better than you know yourself. I hope that you guys enjoyed this and had fun. I had so much fun putting this all together. So if you wind up deciding to play this game on your channel, please let me know, because I would love to go and support and see how other people use these prompts, especially because all of the numbered cards are very open to interpretation, especially if you have obviously like a different set of tarot cards. You might have different stories or different things that pop out to you. Also, we hit 100 subscribers this week, and I just want to thank everybody for being here and hanging out and dealing with my learning curve as I figure out how I actually want my YouTube videos to look. I know they've certainly gotten quite a bit better since the first one, and I hope that they will continue to do so. From the bottom of my heart, truly, 100 people is a lot of fucking people, and I am so blessed. If you're interested in more book-related content, you can go and check out my channel or this video right here. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this. I'll see you all next time.